a lot of what you see and a lot of the talk I hear focuses so much on the horse race, on red versus blue, Republican versus Democrat. And here's a story about Thomas Massie. He's a Republican from Kentucky, and he's been a big supporter of President Trump. You might think that means they're on the same team, but right now they're not on the same team because Thomas Massie stood up to this bailout. He wanted to have a vote. He wanted the members of Congress to actually vote on the bill, which I know is outrageous. He must be absolutely out of his mind to think that Congress should do its job and vote on laws. I don't even know how people can get the story so wrong. First of all, they're saying he's a grandstander. Donald Trump went on to Twitter to call him a third-rate grandstander. And Thomas Massie, to his credit, took it in stride, said, well, I'm at least second-rate. Ha ha. He did not support impeachment. Justin Amash, another one of the Liberty Republicans in Congress, left the Republican Party and supported impeachment. Thomas Massie is a Trump supporter. He's a party man. So this treatment of him is absolutely insane. Donald Trump went onto Twitter to say that he should be thrown out of the Republican Party, which I think shows that Donald Trump buys into a lot of the hype and a lot of the nonsense himself. We all do. But here's what Thomas Massie had to say about the bill. He said, the stimulus package that just passed is the biggest wealth transfer from common folks to the super rich, Wall Street and bankers, in the history of mankind. Done in the name of a virus with $1,200 checks as the cheese in the trap. This will be obvious in short order. Now, he's betting a lot on this. If this bill is successful, and I can't say for sure that it won't be, if this bill is successful, if the economy comes roaring back, then Thomas Massie won't be in Congress very much longer. He is making a mistake. He is staking his reputation. He is staking his career on this moment. And what does Donald Trump do? He rushes to Twitter to criticize somebody who is showing extreme bravery when everybody else is running over the cliff with the fellow lemmings.
I think I may have posted it on our Twitter. I don't know for sure. I remember seeing it on Twitter, and I'm pretty sure I retweeted it on our Twitter. There was a moment where Congressman Massie was walking out of the Capitol building, and a bunch of reporters were flocking to him. By the way, not maintaining social distance. I just want to point that out. All the hypocrisy, because there's so much hypocrisy in so many different directions. But anyway, they crowd him and start asking him questions, and he'd explained the fact that he actually did contact the president prior to his vote to explain why he was doing this, and he just feels like Trump didn't get it, because his big point was Trump was angry because supposedly he's delaying the vote, and he's like, I didn't delay the vote at all. I just let people know I was going to bring this up, and we better have a quorum. And then, of course, at the end of the day, even though all these congressmen were complaining that they had to show up, because I think they were near a quorum, if not at a quorum, which is basically over half the membership. That's what they need. And so he was there to do that, to say that we have to do this. We have to go on record. He said this will not delay the vote in any way because I let everybody know, so we'll have enough people there. And Trump blasted him anyway, which is really, which to me is really a I don't know how to phrase it. It's just I'm very disappointed in the president, I guess is the way to say it. And like you said, Massie is an ally of Trump. He is a Trump supporter. He said that he's going to do his best to try to patch things up even. So he is a quote unquote team player. He just happens to have some convictions and that he will not compromise on, and they're good convictions. I brought it up many times in our show. Very few people are talking about liberty right now in the wake of Corona because everybody's scared. And this is one man, the only person in Congress standing up and saying, hey, we need to show up to work. That's one of his big messages. We have to show up to work. If we're going to make other people show up to work that we deem essential, we as politicians have to show up to work. And he wanted to make sure people were on record about this huge pork bill, which it is. The only thing I can say about this that I think is better than TARP, and TARP is what got me to become a Ron Paul supporter in the first place, was because I was so enraged about TARP. The only thing that's better is at least there's a percentage, a significant percentage of this money going directly to people. But the larger percentage is going to corporations. It is corporate welfare, by any perspective.
Right.
The only thing that makes it a little bit better than TARP is at least a good percentage is going directly to people. That didn't happen in TARP. TARP, nothing went directly to the people. It went to corporations and banks and things like that. So,
and you and I talked about this in, I think, the first or second week of the show. And what we said at that time was that a bailout would kill Trump politically. And what Trump has done, and I think it's very smart, I think what the Republicans have done is very smart. What they've done is they've added something, which is the $1,200 check, to let everybody know this is a bailout for Main Street, not just for Wall Street. But the lion's share of this money is going to Wall Street. So everybody gets their $1,200 check, but that's only 1/6 of this money, or maybe less, actually. So we're paying ourselves with our own money, and I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe we are going to see real price inflation like we haven't seen in over 40 years since the beginning of the Reagan administration.
That's my big concern as well, is inflation. I'm very concerned about inflation in the wake of when these checks go out and when all this money goes out that we don't have. You said we're paying ourselves. We're actually paying ourselves with our credit card, with the national credit card, because we don't have the money to pay for this.
Yes. Yeah, very well said.